How can any artist who is starting out, a young artist, somebody who may be late career, they started the art projects or their art ambitions late, how do they actually cut through the noise and make something of themselves? I've been thinking about this particular issue for quite some time, and after much research, some agonizing, and some reading, I think I have found something that will work if applied properly. And the main basis, the main advantage of this method I've found is that it requires little or no cost, apart from, of course, the cost of actually making the artwork yourself. And when I mean make the artwork, I mean make good artwork. There's a tendency for artists to use poor materials, to use bad technique, bad finishes, and the work they think that they can give away. But that's a very, very, very big mistake. Anything you give to somebody must represent the best of who you are or what you want to portray. So to give a gift, a work of art as a gift, you make sure that the work you're giving is the best that you have. It's counterintuitive, but really that's how it works. I would say that if you're a late career artist or a young person starting out and you want to really start making inroads into the minds and pockets of people, that you must find an alternative means of income. You cannot rely on the art for this particular operation that I'm trying to advise you upon. You cannot rely on the art to pay your bills. You have to get another job, and you should anyway. You should. It helps you make better art. You should get another job, but most importantly, you must create good works that you're going to give away. And my proposition is that you make a minimum of 25 works. It will be good if you can make 30. Actually, let's change it. You need to make at least 30 pieces of artwork, 30. And to keep costs down, you want the works to be made on canvas. Because if you make them on paper, it means you're going to have to incur more cost in framing and finishing it to a professional level, which is to say it needs to be framed by professional framers, and they don't come cheap. Good framing is expensive, so I would say instead of spending the money on frames for now, you should stick to canvas, good canvas. You need to invest in it. This project will cost you money. That is why I'm saying you need to have a job. You need to be working. Maybe you need 2 jobs, I don't know, but you need a job to raise the money you need for the project. And the reason why you should invest in it is that if you can pull it off, you have the potential to double, triple, or quadruple your investment, and even make 10 times what you had laid out, you have given away. Not to talk about the goodwill, the presence, your presence, the importance of your contribution to society as a whole. So you need to invest. And this investment will be on all levels. You have to invest in studying so that you can produce good works. You have to have money to buy your paints or however you want to create the work, but they must be professionally rendered. It's not slapdash nonsense. It must be good, because what you're going to be producing and giving out will represent everything you stand for. You can't change it later when you start badly. You must start well. And you also have to study some marketing. Yes, I know a lot of artists, they kind of bulk on it and they just find the whole thing overwhelming and irritating to talk about marketing when they're trying to make art. But you have to market your work. If not, somebody else will have to do it, and you will have to pay a lot of money for that service, because selling art is selling high ticket items. It is expensive. People who buy art want to buy the best, and they want what they can sell later in future. So when you're making a work of art, remember that your art is going to be sold. It's going to be sold by you, by the buyer, and subsequent owners of the work. So bear that in mind. When you see your work being sold for large sums of money, don't start panicking and thinking you've been cheated. Actually, the person who is buying this is doing you a favor. It's making you famous, making you rich. So what you need to do is, in your first sale, you have to try to get as much money as possible. That is why you need to produce good works of art, and you have to market to your highest bidder. You have to sell to the people who have money. You know, your work should have a minimum amount that you're willing to sell it for. But that can only happen if the work you're trying to sell has value, at least physical value. If not intrinsic, it must be properly rendered. I keep repeating this word because so much of artwork out there are so badly put together that it is no wonder they don't sell. It's like walking into a shoe shop and there are some new designs and you pick it up and it says this shoe is worth $100, but when you pick it up it looks flimsy. Maybe the threads are loose and there's a lot of things wrong with it. You're not going to buy it. Art is more so like that. So what usually happens is that people buy a work of art, and when they take it home and they look at the quality, if it's very poor, they always normally return it to the dealer. They always do. And either exchange it for something else or get their money back. It's actually a common occurrence in the world of art. That is why you have to do it properly. And that is also why a lot of dealers supervise what is sold by their artists. They make a very detailed selection before they choose what to sell. Because it is very expensive to sell something to somebody only to have them return it. That means you haven't made any income out of it. For anybody doing business, this is terrible because you still have a lot of bills to pay. So as I was saying earlier, if you produce 30 works of art, and let's say you bought the canvases, just for argument's sake, you paid $10 for each of the canvases. We're not talking large canvases, we're talking, again, nothing more than a meter by meter at the most, because all this will be given away. So a meter by meter is generous enough. If you can do half a meter by half a meter, that's okay. But they must be good canvases. So you have to find somewhere, a warehouse or somewhere you can buy at least 30 canvases. You have to buy them all at once. You don't buy one today and buy two tomorrow. No, this is a project. You have to find the budget and buy the 30 canvases at the same time, so you're committed to the project. And then you have to then spend time, decide what you're going to paint, the theme, because this thing has to be completed on time. If you're choosing to address a particular societal issue, you should do so. You must avoid all aspects of portrait painting. They are not part of it. You can't sell that stuff. What you want to do, portrait art, just to add to that, is usually by commission. That's why people commission portrait artists to paint them. People don't go and buy portrait art. They only do that if the person is famous, if the person has some kind of notoriety, or the person has been commissioned by paper, newspaper, or something like that. As I say, demand for that particular individual. That's the only time the thing might sell, but they are difficult to value, except there's a lot of story behind it. So avoid that completely. You must look for ideas that are universal while not being common. You can think about the state of love, you can think about anxiety, you can think about anything. It could be even political, war, anything that kind of resonates with people, that pulls at the emotional strengths of people. You have to develop a theme of that, maybe 3 or 4 types of ideas, work them out, title them first, and when you title them, make sure that they all align with your vision. Don't paint the piece of work and then title it. That's where a lot of young artists make a mistake. You need to have the title before you start painting so that it drives the energy of your work. Do not seek the title after you finish the painting. Leave that for slightly older artists. They can gamble with that sort of stuff. But if you're a young artist, make sure you have a title before you start painting, because it really does inspire you to do the work, finish it, and have something to say or discuss when somebody asks you about it. But if you paint before you title, half of the time you're lost in your contemplation or analysis of it. So what's before pictures? Like somebody who's going to make a movie. You have a title first, you have a script, and then you shoot the movie. If you shoot the movie before the title, only seasoned directors or art directors can do that, and not many of them can do it well. So avoid that pitfall. What I would say is that when you have your titles on the themes that you've decided, you also have to think about the color scheme you want to use. Try to make things congruent so they look like they come from a single mind, not a schizoid mind. Not that being schizoid is bad, but here we're talking about a project you're going to give away and you have a timeline to finish it. So once you have your title and then you put together the materials that you need to do the project with, until you get all those things organized, do not paint a single picture. So you must have your paints, oils, whatever you're trying to use, you must get them ready. Your canvases must be ready. Then you must choose a day to start the project, and you must choose a day to end the project. So it's like project management. You must get into that. You must project manage the big idea that you have. It has to be well managed, because again, this is a business. This is not some school children drawing pictures in the sand. So now, when you have your project set up properly, when you have your list of what you must do, then you have to get a calendar. When you get a calendar, you then have to map out how much you do a day, how long it's going to take to finish a painting. You have to time everything, because the idea is that you need to finish the work. As I said before, you need to finish work in 30 days. So when you start, you have to paint every day. You don't want to spend too much time on any canvas. That's why I'm saying you need the title first, you need your ideas, and then you need to set a date. And you have to paint until the work is finished or near finished. You don't paint and say, I'll paint tomorrow. No, it's a consistent effort. You must paint till the painting is finished. And the average time you should do this project should be 45 days. I repeat, 45 days. You need to do it for a month and a half to be able to finish it properly. So the first 30 days is to go through all the work. So in 30 days, you must have 30 paintings finished or half finished. For the next 15 days, to make it 45 days, you have to go through the work again and look at it in slightly more detail, adjusting, amending, and finishing what is left. So by the 45th day, everything is done. I mean everything. How it's going to be hung, the titles, the notes, the authentication you need to have to qualify the art. You have to have all that. The listings, the measurement of each and every piece of work must have a sort of title list stuck on its back. So you need to either print them out or write them out in hand. But I would say print them out. Just make a template and then fill up the blanks with the titles of the work and also the dimensions. This is what you need to do. So this project will take approximately 45 days to complete. When you have completed it, you will then start getting ready for the promotion, because it's important that you select willfully, knowingly, the people you are going to give the works to. The strategy is to give the work to people who can help you develop the work. That's the strategy. So you need to choose carefully who is going to be receiving the work. And if you ask me, this is one way of doing it. You need to go, I don't know what town you live in, but whatever town you live in, whether you live in the States, you live in another country, in Europe, wherever you're listening to this, you need to check 20-kilometer radius of where you are right now. You need to go on Instagram or Yellow Pages or whatever, however they list businesses in your city. You need to do a 20-mile radius, and then you have to start looking for the CEOs, the chief executive officers of the best companies in your town, the best companies. So you're going to be looking at IT companies, you look at restaurants, the best restaurants, the best hotels, the best entrepreneurs, the best banks, all of them. You have to make a list of them. And then you have to find the actual names of these people, their addresses, email addresses, physical addresses, telephone numbers if you can. These things you can find today. They are no longer a mystery to find, but you need to get 30 addresses, 30 names of important business, social, whatever important people that have businesses in your city. You have to contact them. And there's a blueprint that I'm going to write about how you're going to send a letter to them. I'll leave it in the description. You can download it. In this particular template, it's quite simple. There's not a complicated email, but you're basically saying that you are so and so an artist, you're a painter, and that you have been following their company, and you feel that because their company has inspired you, that you would like to have a chat because you want to donate one of your works to the company. You want to donate it to them, and you would like to send them an image of the work to the CEO to look at, and that you would like to deliver it on such and such a day. And if he likes the work that he's seeing, you describe the work, what it means, how you did it, in a short form. It's not going to be detailed, but you describe the work and how you think that it might help to make their clients feel welcome when they come into their offices and something like that. There are various ways you can put it, but basically what I'm saying is that you need to write something that sells the work to the CEO. Don't forget you're giving it to him free or her free. So all you are doing is just introducing the work, selling the work in terms of its significance, and chances are that you are going to be called to have a word. You may be even called to bring the work. When you're going to present the work, make sure that the work can be hung immediately. There is no complication. If you have strings at the back of the work, that's okay. Make sure it is all there. So when you take the work to the recipient, make sure that it is wrapped. You don't carry it like exposing it until you open it, until you let them open it actually. You don't open the work yourself. You let them open it. Even though you've sent them a color image of it, let them open the work, and then you can then explain to them. It's just part of the getting to know the people. So this is how you're going to do it. I assure you that out of the 30 people you contact, depending on how you have actually made those contacts, they will all like to have that piece of work. You don't ask for anything back. Remember, you don't ask for anything. You're giving it to them because you feel that their company has contributed to you being an artist because of how they've inspired you, even though you're not related in business. But every time you pass their office or you read about them, you feel, yes, if these guys can be computer programmers and be successful, I am an art programmer. I paint. I'm also programming my canvas. I myself is successful, but you want to share this experience with them. Chances are they're going to take your work because it is free and it is what quite a lot. Most rich companies own art, and they have to pay through the nose to get it. So when you're offering it, and if it's a well-executed work, you can be sure that that thing is going to generate a goodwill worth 10 times what you're giving it for them. So let's say you cost the work, after you painted it, the work is 500, and you gave it to a company worth $10 million or 10 million pounds. It basically means that you're using a 10 million pound company to promote your work that is only worth $500 to $1,000. They're actually doing marketing for you at an exceptionally cheap rate. In short, you're stealing their money because you're leveraging their size, their reach, their importance to promote your work. And if it goes well and your work is hanging in the office of the CEO, that means your work is being marketed every day, if you get what I'm saying. That means these companies are working for you without you making or paying anything to them. So there's a major leverage that you have. And that is why I say that this is how you sell the work of art. Because you can be rest assured that as the work remains in that office, in a $10 million company or $500,000 or pounds or euro companies, that every one of their clients that comes in there will remember that picture. And you never know what people see. You never know. So if in the future you put up an artwork and a person who had visited that company sees it, he will be reminded, I've seen that work somewhere in the offices of such and such a person. And do not forget that the company that receives your work for free never ever tells another company that they got it for free, because automatically your work is valued as part of their company. So they're not going to say it's free to anybody, even though it's free. But as it stays there and gains value, you, the artist, benefits. Because imagine that out of the 2,000 people who visit the office, let's say it's a big company, and all the people are visiting are important people. Out of the 2,000 people that visit, that is 2,000 eyes on it, and then that is possibly another $40 million worth of potential individuals seeing your work. So if you continue painting and showing and working on your art, and one of those people comes across it, their mind is taken back to where they first saw it. So they are more than likely going to be your benefactors. They are more than likely going to be some of the first people to buy your work. Maybe in 2 years' time, maybe in 5 years' time, but you have got the potential of a ready market. People who actually know your work, even though they don't know you personally. And this is why I say you have to give the work out for free. And it's a waiting game. You have to wait for your time. And if it's well done, the benefit you get from it is unbelievable. You can find yourself after those initial 30 works you've given away, that you just need one of the clients, one of the recipients, just one of them to come in and buy a work of yours that's $5,000, just like that. Because now they know the value of your work. Because rest assured, when people see the work, no matter what it is, if it's well made, are going to comment and ask the owner, the CEO, the company, how did you get that work? How much did you pay for that? This and that, you know. And this is how you sell works of art. I hope this video is not too long and is of some benefit to you. Like I say, keep working hard and have a good day. Ciao.